good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be, and welcome to the my launch coverage of the Spacex Starlink mission. Today's just a second. Today, Falcon 9 launched 60 Starlink satellite, which is the company's low legacy internet broadband satellites. So they are launching 60 of them today because they can only fit the 60 satellite into the fairing. Because of this volume issue, they cannot launch more than 60. So yeah, they are launching 60. It is their 12th operational Starlink mission, and they have around 700 plus satellite already in orbit. And today's launch will increase by 777 or so. This is the third flight of this particular booster, and the first time they are, it's not the first time, but this is the one more mission where they utilize the used fairing. So both the fairing will splash down or catch by the mystery or mischief, and they retrieve back and utilize again. So this is all about today's mission. Uh, Today's Falcon 9 launch more 60 Starlink satellite. Yeah, talking about the future of the internet. So Starlink is there, OneWeb is there, because OneWeb is now captured by the UK company. So yeah, they are giving tough competition to each other. SpaceX plan to deploy more than 2,000 satellite in orbit, so that they can provide the internet to anybody at any place, like the people who are living in Himalayas where the internet or light access is not available. Some people living in Amazon forest or somewhere else where the internet is not possible. So for that people, this particular Starlink are going to be built by the Elon Musk. So the second thing is that there is a lot of income actually from the internet satellite internet service compared to the launching of them into the orbit. So yeah, this is the one more reason when Elon's vision is that the world's 50% people utilize Starlink internet service. So it is quite good thing, I think, for the Elon and for us also, where we get able to I would say high legacy, high speed internet with a lower price, which is very difficult for currently in our country. So we are 16 minutes away from the launch. There is no mission audio control.
You say about GEO satellites and Starlink.
So they are still targeting the launch on at decided time, because it's instantaneous launch window. If anything goes wrong, they have to scrub the launch and wait for the next launch opportunity, because the ULA also in a line to launch Data for Avi with the national security payload, which is the classified one. So let's see what happens. If they can launch today, then it's a good thing, but otherwise they have to wait. Next launch for the SpaceX is coming up on the 1st of the October, when the company is planned to launch GPS satellite into orbit. This is the third time SpaceX launched GPS satellite for the US Air Force. So yes, they have the bunch of launch in their pockets to launch. I think we are 15 minutes away. Anytime we have started the live stream from the SpaceX site.
You say about GEO and Starlink.
Yeah, there is a tough competition between GEO and Starlink, because the GEO signal are interrupted by the Starlink signal. So So there may be a problem with the GTO satellite, GEO satellite, which is geosynchronous Earth orbit. So, but I don't think so. This is the biggest issue. The biggest issue is faced by the astronomer because the starliner is very bright, and so that when particular observer observe the sky, the Starlink will pass, and their observation was their observation is interrupted. So might be a problem for this to solve out by the Elon. They are already saying that they are working on the black cover, so that the spacecraft become much less, what I say, much less brightness. So we are 13 minutes still. No, today's mission is going to be a longer one mission, because after the first one of the second stage they will post for around 35 minutes, then perform a 2-second burn, and then they will and 1 hour into the flight they will separate the Starlink satellite into the intended orbit. So we have a lot of time to talk with each other.
Was there about the competition between SpaceX, ULA, and Arianespace?
Yeah, this is a very good topic. Arianespace and ULA charging a much high cost compared to the SpaceX, because SpaceX build each and every hardware in a house, while the ULA and the Arianespace will collect the parts from the different vendors and attach with each other and make the rocket, while the SpaceX build everything in house, which is allow them to lower down the cost significantly. Secondly, SpaceX reuse the booster, which end up into the good amount of money. So yeah, they will provide cheap services. We are 12 minutes away. No webcast will start. We are waiting for the official webcast cancel. So we are 11 minutes away from the launch. Let's see when they start. We are waiting for the official webcast. Still not started. So they already started the fueling of the Falcon 9. Also, Falcon 9 utilized super chilled oxygen and the folded RP1, which allow them to give extra performance, because the fuel is densified, giving the SpaceX extra performance from each and every stage. So this is but they have to start the fueling. They start fueling at T-35 minutes. It's a crazy thing that they are starting fueling at T-35 minutes and complete at T-2 minutes, which is very cool thing, I think. And you have from SpaceX.
About Indian private companies.
So
Yes.
now,
Where they are NG.
so I am basically from the India. So I would say that there is many companies are now standing up for space technology. Out of them, the one is the Skyroot, which currently plan to build Vikram 1, 2, and 3. Vikram 1 is very small satellite launch vehicle, and Vikram 2 is a little bit bigger, and Vikram 3 is bigger one. They recently tested their first engine test fire, hot fire, which is the Raman engine, So now the Indian companies are also coming into this business and start their journey into in particular space industry.
And ISRO is also planning for privatization of these rockets.
Yeah, ISRO is planning to privatization of the they are soon start their live webcast. Minus around 5 minutes or so because this is a very common process to launch Starlink satellite. So they might be start very close to the launch time. I never noticed the Spacex logo. It's very cool.
LWO1 WeatherNet. Liftoff conditions pretty good.
ESTS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. It's Monday, September 28th, and you are looking at a live view of Falcon 9 as it awaits its 10:22 a.m. Eastern Time launch from Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. Hello from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. My name is Alex Siegel, and I'm a senior material planner here at SpaceX. You're watching a live webcast for our 13th Starlink mission and our 17th mission this year. To date, we've launched more than 700 Starlink satellites to orbit. As a reminder, Starlink is a constellation of satellites that can provide high-speed, low-latency internet all over the globe, particularly in our remote and rural areas where connectivity is limited or completely unavailable. Today's mission will be a bit longer than our recent Starlink missions. We will be lighting our second stage twice and deploying the stack of 60 satellites at about an hour into the mission. By deploying our satellites after 2 second stage burns to a circular orbit, it helps to get them to their final orbit much faster. We are at T-minus 8 minutes and 17 seconds. All systems are go for an on-time liftoff this morning. Now, but we are currently no-go for weather, which is a watch item. On your screen is a live view of Falcon 9, our 2-stage liquid-fueled launch vehicle standing 229 feet tall, or slightly taller than a 21-story building. Today, this booster will be flying for the third time. It made its debut on our Commercial Crew Demo 2 mission at the end of May, which sent Bob and Doug safely on their journey to the International Space Station, and it flew again in July for the Anasis 2 mission. The bottom 2/3 of the vehicle is the first stage. You can see the soot markings left over from its previous flight. The first stage accelerates the vehicle through the Earth's atmosphere into space with the help of 9 Merlin engines at the base of the rocket. Today, we will be attempting to recover our first stage for the third time on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. Now above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry the Starlink satellites into a circular orbit above the Earth's surface. Falcon 9 has been loading propellant since T-minus 35 minutes. As a reminder, we use a rocket-grade kerosene, or RP1, as our fuel, and super chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX, as our oxidizer to power the Falcon 9. Currently, RP1 and LOX are nearly fully loaded on both stages, and LOX will continue to be topped off right into the last minute of the countdown. The stack of 60 satellites is safely enclosed inside of the 17-foot diameter payload fairing, which is the pointed cone on the very top of the rocket. This protects the satellites from aerothermal heating, aerodynamic loads, and contamination during ascent. Once we reach the vacuum of space, we will jettison the fairing as the second stage continues on its journey to orbit. One of the fairing halves today is brand new, and the other supported 2 previous Starlink launches, one in May 2019 and the other in March of this year. We will be attempting to recover them today using our recovery ships Miss Tree and Miss Chief. At about 2 minutes before the fairing halves are expected to land, the team will conduct a go, no-go poll for the catch. The weather is an important factor in the decision as it impacts the sea states for the recovery boats as well as how the fairings fall back to Earth. Now, as a reminder that I mentioned earlier, weather currently is a no-go. We have some thick clouds in the skies above our launch pad, and we're worried about how that might impact Falcon 9 as its ascent. So with that, the vehicle, satellites, and range are all looking good for an on-time launch, minus the weather that's going to be a watch item right up to the last minute. Now, as many of you watching may know, Spacex was founded under the belief that a future where humanity is out exploring the stars is fundamentally more exciting than one where we are not. From rocket reusability to developing interplanetary transportation systems, our teams get to work on programs with the potential to impact both our lives on Earth and beyond the stars. And Starlink is no exception. As I mentioned earlier, today's mission marks our 13th Starlink mission. By design, these satellites will be able to service areas where internet connectivity has been unreliable, too expensive, or completely unavailable. This kind of network has never been done before, and our team continues to grow as we get closer to this goal. Specifically, the Starlink team in Redmond is looking for great engineers to join our Network Operations Center. Our NOC engineers are constantly monitoring Starlink to ensure that SpaceX's orbital and ground assets are delivering the best possible user experience. We're also looking for full-stack software engineers. Starlink is an incredibly flexible system, so smart algorithms and simple user interfaces are critical to our success. As a software engineer, you can have huge impact on the quality of our service. If you're interested, send your resume to softwarejobs@spacex.com or check out the careers page on our website. We are currently at T-minus 4 minutes and 14 seconds from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Super chilled liquid oxygen, which as I mentioned earlier is our propellant oxidizer, is what's creating those white clouds you see around Falcon 9 when it's exposed to the warmer ambient air. First stage should finish prop loading at T-minus 3 minutes, and second stage will be a minute behind that at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 is in startup. This means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown. The Starlink payload continues to be healthy. The F9 team is tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather, again, still questionable and no go, but the range is green for launch.
So now it shows with the orbit improved so that they can launch.
You can notice on your screen above Falcon 9 that we are looking at some pretty cloudy skies, and so we are still no-go, but hoping we get a little clearance right at our launch window so we can thread the needle, as they say. We're just under a minute away from LOX loading completion, and then 30 seconds after that, we would expect to see that white cloud that common viewers are used to seeing of the transporter erector LOX line. 20 seconds from now, we should complete LOX loading. Now at T-minus 2 minutes, LOX loading is complete on the vehicle.
So at T-minus 1 minute, Spacex internal computer will take over the control, and all the system then will be performed by the onboard computer of the Falcon 9.
You can see the prominent white cloud venting from the transporter erector LOX line. Again, this is normal. We are 20 seconds from entering startup. Again, as a reminder, and for folks just turning in, we are still no-go on weather for this launch. We're going to keep counting down until the last possible moment, and if the weather is not clear, we will call it. So sit tight. Hopefully we can make this one happen today. First stage and second stage are pressurizing for launch.
This is Starlink L12 scrub due to weather violations. This is Starlink L12 scrub due to weather violations.
And we just heard the hold on the nets. Unfortunately, it looks like due to weather violations, we're going to have to scrub today. But again, the most important thing is reducing as much risk on the mission as possible, and with that comes waiting for a window of good weather. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in. We currently don't have a backup launch scheduled yet. We do have the GPS launch scheduled for tomorrow, but as soon as we know that information, we'll share it on our socials, so please keep checking for the next Starlink launch opportunity. Thanks again, and everyone have a great day.
So with this, they are ending their webcast. Due to weather issue, they cannot able to launch today. Tomorrow they have the launch of the GPS 3 satellite. It's a third generation GPS satellite, and the fourth one to launch into the orbit. So yeah, they concluded their mission. So I will also officially sign out right now, and will be talk to you later tomorrow with the GPS launch. Thank you.